So this is going to be a look through of the new train map. Now Valve have added back train and a couple of new maps as well, but since this one is the main one that everyone has been looking forward to, I'm going to be taking a quick walkthrough to it, point out a couple of things I find is cool, and talk about them. So let's get into it. The first thing is, if you're not a skin collector or not into skins at all, that's completely fine. You can skip this point, but there is actual water effects on your gun now. So if I actually stand under this light, you can see the water droplets on my AK, and if I switch to my knife, on my stiletto. And honestly, I'm a big fan of this. I think this is super cool and looks super cool, and it seems like Valve cares a little bit more about the attention to detail on this map. And you know what? If it takes them a little bit more time to make maps and add maps, I'm totally understanding, because even on the gloves, it's absorbing into the gloves pattern. And I think that that's super sick. Very minor detail, but yeah. The next thing I want to talk about as well is going to be the A site. So the A site is completely revised, as you can see here. The trains that would formerly go from T main into Olaf and Hell are now moved around a little bit to favor the T's crossing out initially, which is very, very cool. Now, I will say the way that Valve have balanced this out is definitely very interesting. So they removed the backhaul lanes that traditionally would be where this 2 is, and they've moved it over and shifted it slightly. So now, for holding Ivy, you have two positions where you can peek out from. You can peek out from here to fight T main, or you can peek out from here to fight for the red truck or for the red train and out towards the bomb site, which I think is honestly pretty cool. Now, they've also changed the way that the angle on Ivy works a little bit, and I appreciate that, especially coming in from this side, because it means the CTs have a little bit better and easier way of defending it. And they've also added this little hallway, which I think is definitely going to be good, especially for the T's trying to scale and take space. If they're able to lay a smoke down here, get to this corner, and it's going to look a little bit, if I had to guess, like the Inferno fight on Banana, where honestly, it's whoever gets the smoke down first. There's going to be probably a trading of utility with a Molotov here from the CTs and a couple nades in. But other than that, I think that's fine. Now, moving on to Pop Dog or Drop, whichever way you call it, they've actually renovated this area completely. So if you walk in here, you'll see there's no ladder. Shadow, where did the ladder go? There is no more ladder. So instead of that, they're going to actually replace it with stairs that connect straight up to Brown Hall, which honestly, as a concept, I really like. This is going to enable a lot easier hold from T's, especially when they're defaulting. It's going to mean that if you're CT, getting information is a lot easier and a lot less risky than having to go up a ladder and not being accurate whatsoever. So I honestly really like this change. Now, if we're talking about in backhauls here, nothing much has significantly changed. Obviously, there are some minor changes in layout and theming. This is no longer a shower room, but a server room, and the windows are still here if you're trying to smoke into the A bomb site from heaven, which I don't even know if that's something that really is going to be found super immediately. But if it is, hey, you know what? Credit me with one or something. I don't know. If I find one, I'll make a video on it. Moving on to the B bomb site, though, there is a decent amount of change here. So the first major thing that I noticed was actually this hut here. This hut used to be a really strong angle because you could jump up on a little spool here and you could headshot angle here into the T halls, which was really strong. And now that they've removed that, this is going to make it a lot easier as a T to take fights towards the only rotation inwards from the actual Z, which is really, really good. Isolating this fight is going to be super important, I feel like, especially when we're talking about executing into the B bomb site, or if you're a lurker, because this lower angle here is super strong for the CTs. I feel like after looking at it for a little bit, it definitely seems like the problem with this is still present, and I'm kind of interested that they didn't make a change on this aspect of it, because it means that if you're peeking into this, unless you stop on a dime, you're always going to be seeing the person who's back here or close sight last relative to the rest of your body. Now, beyond that, I don't think there's many major changes. I think the biggest thing is the removal of this train that used to be here. And overall, the visual overhaul on this map is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I just look at it and I think that this is actually really, really fascinating from a engine perspective, because we haven't really gotten a map in the competitive pool that is raining as often as train is. We haven't gotten the moodier lighting before, and I think that it's a perfect new example of what the Source 2 engine can do, and I'm honestly really excited for it. So overall, Train gets a thumbs up from me for these new changes. Obviously, I've yet to play it in a competitive match, but I think that for what it is, it's going to be super cool and interesting to try it out. They've made some super valuable changes that actually make it pretty interesting and spice it up to play. They've removed Heaven as well. That's no longer there. I did forget to mention that. And overall, I think that they made some super strong changes. It's not going to be a super optified map, or at least as much as it was before. Although there are still important sightlines, I think you could counter them a lot more with AUGs as you couldn't previously, because they were just a little bit too long to deal with just AUGs and SGs. So that's going to be my kind of first look at Train. I overall really like it. I find it kind of super promising, and it is available in the casual and competitive pools for you guys to take a look at. So take a look at it, go through, let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah,